Hello there, a very good evening and welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlotte Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Mariam Gunavijaya. First up is a look at the headlines.
Human Rights Watch says that Sri Lanka is going fast in reverse. Sri Lanka supports establishing Palestinian state. President tells Israel minister. 2 massive Iranian warships reach Sea of Sri Lanka. Protest erupts in Vallawaya demanding solution for human-elephant conflict. Deputy Director of the Columbo General Hospital forcefully confined to his office by minor staff.
Starting off with your top story tonight, Human Rights Watch has warned that Sri Lanka is going in reverse on issues relating to human rights and social justice.
Human Rights Watch highlighted that Sri Lanka is still reeling from an economic crisis largely caused by misgovernance and lack of accountability. But instead of focusing on social justice and rights, the new government, led by President Ranil Wickremesinghe, is focused on suppressing dissent and limiting international attention on human rights. The statement by Deputy Asia Director of Human Rights Watch, Meenakshi Ganguly, said, quote, under Ranil Wickremesinghe, Sri Lanka is going fast in reverse, unquote. Wickremesinghe, who had previously politically opposed the Rajapaksa-led party, was expected to reverse the authoritarian policies of the previous government, address entrenched corruption, stabilize the economy and even comply with international pledges to bring long-awaited justice for violations during the 1987 and 89 insurgencies in the south and the 1983 and 2009 civil war in the north. Human Rights Watch said that instead, Wickremesinghe has moved forcefully to stifle criticism with a raft of new repressive laws as the country prepares to hold a presidential election later this year.
Multiple villagers in Sri Lanka are living in constant fear due to the ongoing human-elephant conflict. The situation in Vallawaya particularly has reached a critical point, with villagers enduring the crisis for an extended period. Frustrated by the lack of effective solutions, residents have exhausted all avenues of communication with authorities. Today, their desperation led them to the streets in a dramatic act of protest. The escalation in Vallawaya reached a peak today, with residents staging a protest by blocking the key Munaragala-Colombo main road at the Viharayaya junction. The protest involved people from numerous villages impacted by the human-elephant conflict, including Viharayaya, Kandeyaya and Attilivavu. During the protest, villagers emphasized the constant threat elephants pose to their lives and livelihoods.
30,000 hectares was awarded to Palwatta. 40,000 hectares was given to Kuda Oya camp. That drove away the wild elephants. Lands were also offered to the firm called Dul. Hundreds of acres of land in Colombo are also grabbed. Where are these elephants supposed to go? We too will be compelled to abandon our villages.
When children travel to school, there are elephants on the road at dawn. The people in the village have nothing to eat, as the crops are destroyed by the elephants. If the elephants consume the paddy, we will be left in hunger. We cannot keep the paddy inside the houses as well. The coconut trees have been destroyed as well. We do not have anything. We are afraid of even sending our kids to school, as these wild elephants are seen roaming around the school grounds. The same fate falls on those heading to hospital as well.
අපි කාටද මේක කියන්නේ සියලු දෙනාම දැන් ඉන්නේ බුදියගෙන ඩාම්ලි ධාරිකාවට ගියාම අඩුවනේ අලි වැඩිල්ලක් නැහැ වනජීවියකට ගියාම අලි වැඩිල්ලක් නැහැ මිනිස්සු වගා කරකන ස්වාධීනව කෑවා අද කිසිම ගොවියෙකුට එහෙම පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ අලි ගැටිකට තිරසාර විසඳුමක් දෙන්න නැතුව කවුරුත් මේකට ඡන්ද ඉල්ලගෙන නම් එන්න හිතන්න එපා.
Vehicular movement was also hampered due to the protest. Sri Lanka police thereafter intervened and paved the way for the meeting between the protesters and the Vallawaya Divisional Secretary KK Ravindra Malini. After she assured that measures will be taken to solve the issue, the protesters dispersed.
A group of minor staff members at the Columbo National Hospital staged a protest today targeting the Deputy Director of the hospital, Dr. Rukshan Bellana. The Deputy Director was forcefully confined to his office.
Tensions flared at the National Hospital in Colombo this afternoon as a cohort of junior staff staged a protest against Deputy Director Dr. Rukshan Bellana. In a recorded incident, Dr. Rukshan Bellana faced opposition within the confines of his office. This incident comes amidst a two-day strike by 72 health unions since the 13th of February, demanding a data allowance similar to the one provided to doctors. Dr. Bellana had previously drawn criticism from these unions for comments made to the media regarding the strike.
Recently, a strike took place and it failed. A campaign was organized against me for being vocal on the failed strike. I am told that Ravi Kumudesh is behind this. Whenever we speak on behalf of the patients, they conduct themselves in a violent manner.
Ravi Kumudesh responded to these allegations.
What he is getting is a response for his conduct. We demand that this person be removed from the hospital. If that does not take place, patient care at hospital will reach a critical state.
A protest against the Deputy Director of the National Hospital in Colombo, Dr. Rukshan Bellana, took place at the hospital this afternoon, leading to a tense situation. The Samaghi United Trade Union Front alleges that individuals involved in a recent data fraud at the Ceylon Petroleum Storage Terminals Limited are no longer employed by the company. Spokesperson for the trade union, Anand Palitha, told reporters that despite investigative recommendations, no legal action has been taken against these individuals. More than 1.3 million entries on the sales and distribution of the petroleum products from the Ceylon Petroleum Storage Terminals Limited on SAP data has been changed or deleted since 2010, and most had occurred in 2022 during the height of the fuel crisis. According to a post on X by Minister Kanchana Wijesekara, this is part of major findings of the forensic audit conducted by a private firm and CPSTL audit investigation on the sales and distribution of petroleum products from the Ceylon Petroleum Storage Terminals Limited. The forensic audit was initiated based on a complaint that the minister had made to the CID in August 2022 on irregularities at CPC and CPSTL.
A forensic audit commenced in August based on the revelations we made. However, instead of following the investigative recommendations to arrest those who entered the system and manipulated the data, they have not even suspended those personnel and not even called for reasons for their actions. The main culprits from the IT division are no longer employed. One person is employed at another company. According to the data manipulation, one order was portrayed as multiple orders.
Now, what is the election that the government is gearing up for? What election are they planning on holding this year? Are the parties utilizing their party strategies for a presidential election, general election, or a referendum? The general public are, of course, watching all of these political parties closely, and all political parties are appointing various committees to prepare for some election.
It is because we have understood the importance of elections that we have allocated funds for it. Therefore, as a party, we have not done anything to postpone it. As a party, we have not come to such a decision. My opinion is that the need of the hour is someone capable of reviving the country's economy. The leader who has shown his capabilities in that area is President Ranil Wickremesinghe. We do not know if he will contest or not, but if he does, I think he will be the most.
These were the views expressed by parliamentarian Tissa Kuttiarachchi.
The
Rajapaksas always revealed their candidates once the election was announced. Basil Rajapaksa fully understands the Sri Lankan political situation. He has strategic knowledge on Sri Lanka's political landscape. He will accurately announce the candidate and the winning strategy. The operational mechanism of the SLPP lies with him. Ranil Wickremesinghe was unable to be elected to the office of president through an election. The UNP was never able to make Ranil Wickremesinghe a president. The UNP and the SJB was able to appoint Ranil Wickremesinghe as president because of the SLPP's majority votes. That is why Ranil Wickremesinghe is the president today. We are yet to decide whether Ranil Wickremesinghe will be the SLPP candidate. SLPP decides that he will be the next candidate. I, along with the party, will support him unconditionally. It is a senior member's decision. I am politically inexperienced to make such decisions.
Where
is the election?
The Samagi Tharuna Balawegaya alleges that the president is trying to extend his tenure at office.
Ranil Wickremesinghe is trying to extend his tenure in office by proposing abolishing the executive presidency. If the proposal passes, who will bring the Prime Minister into power? All 225 members of Parliament will choose the next Prime Minister. Critics accuse the government of prioritising consolidating power within the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and extending Wickremesinghe's hold on office rather than upholding the public's right to choose their representatives. Why postpone an election, especially when funds for both presidential and general elections are available?
Where is the election?
The People's Struggle Movement expressed their views about the proposal to abolish the executive presidency.
Now Ranil Wickremesinghe is in doubt whether to hold the executive presidential election or not. He is using the executive presidency to secure his power. It must be abolished. Not just that, the constitution also needs to be changed. Then the electoral system should be changed. Then Sri Lanka's tax policy needs to change. The power to call for a referendum should also be included in the constitution. These days, Ranil Wickremesinghe is trying to delay the elections by saying that he will abolish the executive presidency.
Minister Jeevan Thondaman, who accompanied the president to the opening of the Northern Water Project, met with the newly elected leader of the Ilankai Tamil Arisakatchi, S. Sridharan, today. The discussion focused on the president's efforts to address the water issues faced by the people of the north.
Today we covered a range of topics, especially focusing on the water issues. We have already discussed this with representatives from the northeast, and our next step is to engage with the president to explore potential solutions. He expressed his gratitude to me. We engaged in a discussion about finding solutions to the challenges faced by the Tamil people, especially focusing on a collaborative approach with the Ceylon Workers' Congress. We also held a lengthy discussion about the access to clean drinking water in the north.
Senegal's top election authority has voided the government's postponement of a presidential election scheduled for the 25th of February and its rescheduling for December, ruling that the moves were unconstitutional. Senegal's country's top court has ruled the decision to postpone this month's presidential election in Senegal was against the constitution. The Constitutional Council annulled both President Macky Sall's decree and a contentious bill passed by Parliament moving the vote to December. Widespread protests have gripped the West African country, once considered a bastion of stability in the region. A leading opposition figure hailed the ruling as a great day for democracy. On the 3rd of February, Sall announced he was pushing back the election's date, originally scheduled for the 25th of February because of concerns over the eligibility of opposition candidates. His proposal was supported by 105 out of the 165 MPs after a fiery debate which saw police remove some opposition MPs from the chamber. A 6-month postponement was originally proposed, but a last-minute amendment extended it to 10 months, meaning a new election date of the 15th of December. Sall had reiterated that he he was not planning to run for office again. But his critics accused him of either trying to cling on to power or unfairly influencing whoever succeeds him. Opposition candidates and lawmakers filed a number of legal challenges. Holding the election using the disputed candidate list could spark renewed unrest and violence by supporters of those barred from contesting. Most candidates have not been campaigning since President Sol issued his decree earlier this month, hours before campaigns were meant to kick off.
Over the past, Newsfirst has highlighted the strategic importance of the Sea of Sri Lanka due to its geographical location and emphasized the need to understand its geopolitical significance when engaging with the international community. Now, recent events have proved this fact to be very true. Today, High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, visited several areas in Jaffna.
This morning, High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, visited Nainathivu and participated in religious ceremonies at the historical Nainathivu Nagapushaniyamman Kovil. The High Commissioner and his team also visited the Naga Vihara of Jaffna and observed the port of Kankasanthore, which operates passenger ferry services between India and Sri Lanka. They also toured the Jaffna International Airport in Palali. Yesterday afternoon, High Commissioner Jha also boarded a Navy boat from the Thalopad Naval Base in Mannar and visited the Adams Bridge, also known as Rama's Bridge or Ramas.
Many of the projects that we have implemented also reflect our deep commitment to this region. This cultural center itself is a reflection of our deep cultural bonds and our support for it. We have undertaken projects to promote livelihood development. We are also trying to promote connectivity from southern part of India with the northern province. We have the Jaffna-Chennai flight that has started in 2022 and continues now, and I believe that soon more flights on this route will be possible. We launched in October last year the first ferry service between Nagapattinam and Kankasanthore. I expect that to resume soon because of the interruption, because of the monsoons, etc., the rough weather. We had to stop it briefly, but we will start it very, very soon in the coming days and weeks. We are also trying to establish the traditional historical links that we had of the ferry service between Talaimanar and the Rameshwaram on the Indian end. The sum and substance of this is that we have a very deep commitment. We feel the historical bonds. We are driven to support the people here in all ways that we can.
India and Sri Lanka have embarked on a promising partnership to enhance public service efficiency and governance through collaborative efforts in personal administration. Officials from both countries held a productive discussion yesterday in New Delhi, culminating in an agreement to develop a memorandum of understanding for cooperation in this area. The proposed MOU involving Sri Lanka's Development Administration Institute and India's National Centre for Good Governance will focus on implementing comprehensive capacity building programs for senior and mid-level civil servants in Sri Lanka. This initiative aims to develop a 5-year capacity development plan for Sri Lankan civil service and to collaborate on curriculum development and training for 1,000 officials across various levels, utilizing both online and in-person modalities. It also aims to enhance civil servants' abilities to effectively address public issues and deliver integrated services. V. Srinivas, Secretary of India's Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, and Anuruddha Dissanayake, Secretary to Sri Lanka's Prime Minister, were present during the discussions.
Israel's Minister of Transport and Road Safety, Brigadier General Miri Regev, met with President Ranil Wickremesinghe in Colombo. The meeting delved into crucial matters concerning the safe return of Israeli hostages, with President Wickremesinghe affirming Sri Lanka's unwavering commitment to advocating for their safety. Furthermore, amidst the ongoing hostilities in Gaza, the President called for an immediate cessation of violence, underscoring the paramount importance of peace and stability in the region. Highlighting Sri Lanka's stance on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, President Wickremesinghe reiterated the nation's support for the establishment of a Palestinian state. He also emphasized the significance of ensuring Israel's security, fostering a balanced approach to regional peace.
Iranian naval ships Bushehr and Tonb reached the Sea of Sri Lanka earlier today. The visiting ships were welcomed by the Sri Lanka Navy in compliance with naval traditions. IRINS Bushehr is a 107-meter-long ship manned by 270 crew members, and she is commanded by Commander Mahdi Balwadi. IRINS Tonb is a 94.94-meter-long platform with a crew of 250. It is commanded by Commander Mohammad Haji Zadeh. Naval personnel from both nations are anticipated to participate in various programs aimed at fostering cooperation. Moreover, officer cadets and personnel from the Sri Lanka Navy will be able to visit Iranian naval ships in Colombo, and reciprocally, officer cadets and personnel from the Iranian ships will visit Sri Lanka naval ships. The duo of Iranian naval ships are scheduled to depart the island on the 19th of February.
Today is day 13 of the Jana rally.
Jana rally.
Sri Lanka boasts a long history of intricate water management, with its network of ancient tanks serving as testaments to this ingenuity. That history, often referred to as the hydraulic civilization, is deeply intertwined with the lives of its people. Sri Lanka could possibly be the only nation with a rich hydraulic civilization. On the first Poya Day of 2024, the Jana rally was born to revitalize and modernize this ancient water heritage. The Jana rally served as a powerful symbol of unity, bringing together communities across Sri Lanka. The act of collecting water from ancient tanks and carrying it from village to village and city to city underscored the deep connection people hold with their water resources. The initiative was launched in Hambantota and then proceeded to Ampara, Trincomalee, Kilinochchi, Chilau, Dambulla, Mathura and several other districts. Today, the Jana rally carrying water from the Mahavali River entered the country's hill capital and then proceeded to Mahiyangania amidst public joy with water collected from the Dambara River. The priceless water resources, including the valleys, rivers and the Sea of Sri Lanka, belong to the people. The Jana rally fosters this idea.
Jana rally.
The Japanese ambassador to Sri Lanka highlighted two key issues facing the country: debt restructuring and the ongoing reconciliation process between the North and the South. He expressed these views while speaking at the University of Colombo.
I would like to raise two issues. One is a problem of the debt restructuring, and the other is a problem of reconciliation of North and South of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka experienced an economic crisis in 2022 that was said to be the worst since its independence. Multiple factors contributed to making the crisis what it was, and this complexity of the crisis made it extremely difficult for Sri Lanka to keep it at bay. The external debt restructuring process clearly exhibited complex nature of the crisis. In order to restore its debt sustainability, Sri Lanka had to take on the daunting task of debt restructuring. But its major creditor countries include China and India, which are not members of the Paris Club. Furthermore, it was not possible for the Paris Club alone, which has expertise in debt restructuring, to solve this issue. This is where Japan jumped in the process. With France and India, Japan launched the Official Creditors Committee, where Japan had played a leading role in facilitating negotiations that culminated in the agreement in principle last November. It is an illustration how economic issues can become a matter of international relations and how important it is to maintain good relations with a trusted partner. Japan will continue to support Sri Lanka's debt restructuring, as failure of it could fetter Sri Lanka's development potential and damage the important role of Sri Lanka as the hub in the Indian Ocean, which is benefiting all the entire international community.
The central bank's monetary policy report for February 2024 paints a cautiously optimistic picture, highlighting progress towards macroeconomic stability and a gradual economic recovery.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka's monetary policy report for February 2024 notes that although inflation may deviate from the target in the near term, mainly due to the recent tax amendments and supply-side disruptions, such impact is likely to be short-lived, as it is projected to stabilize around the targeted level of 5% over the medium term. After peaking in 2022, inflation dropped to single digits in 2023, reaching a low of 1.3% in September. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka's monetary policy report for February 2024 went on to note that annual economic growth is expected to turn positive in 2024 and gradually reach its potential over the medium term. It added that the economy started expanding again in the third quarter of 2023 after 6 quarters of contraction. This is due to improved investor confidence and the government's implementation of long-term economic policies.
Meanwhile, the Financial Intelligence Unit and the Excise Department have partnered to tackle money laundering and terrorist financing in Sri Lanka.
The Financial Intelligence Unit of Sri Lanka and the Excise Department of Sri Lanka signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Excise Department at the Central Bank of Sri Lanka to collaborate on tackling money laundering, terrorist financing and other related crimes. This agreement, under the provisions of the Financial Transactions Reporting Act No. 6 of 2006, strengthens information sharing between the two institutions for investigations and prosecution. Since 2008, the FIU has signed 44 MOUs with international counterparts and 11 with domestic agencies, including Sri Lanka Customs, Immigration, Inland Revenue and Police.
Transparency International Sri Lanka launched their Transparency in Corporate Reporting or TRAC report for the year 2023 yesterday. Now, this was done to encourage companies to incorporate and strengthen anti-corruption practices and make the information publicly available.
Transparency in Corporate Reporting, also known as TRAC, assists companies to objectively evaluate the strength of their corporate disclosures and assesses how they are viewed by the public in terms of their anti-corruption initiatives.
The most important objective of this assessment is to encourage companies to incorporate and strengthen anti-corruption practices and to make this information publicly available as well. In the context of the TRAC assessment, it's also important to address the issue of private sector corruption, where companies can actually often be silent colluders or even enablers of much larger public sector corruption. So the newly enacted Anti-Corruption Act, for the first time in Sri Lanka, now recognizes bribery in the private sector as a punishable offence. This is further strengthened by the revised listing rules of the Columbo Stock Exchange, under which listed companies will be required to adopt and maintain whistleblower policies and anti-bribery and corruption policies and make disclosures on these said policies. The report provides detailed recommendations for companies. There's a separate section on recommendations to companies on how to improve their disclosure practices.
The top 124 public limited companies in Sri Lanka have been assessed for their corporate disclosure practices under the TRAC Assessment 2023.
Still in local news, the body of a 10-year-old missing girl was found 300 meters away from her residence in Thale Manor today.
A 10-year-old girl went missing yesterday after leaving for a nearby shop in Manor. Newsfirst correspondent reported that despite attempts by her relatives, she remained missing throughout the night. Tragically, her body was discovered 300 meters away from her residence this morning. Police suspect the incident occurred the previous night and have taken the suspect into custody following their investigation. A determination on potential sexual harassment awaits a medical examination as well. Meanwhile, villagers demanded a fair investigation from the magistrate during their inquiry into the case. The deceased girl and her siblings had left her hometown in Putlam to stay with her grandmother in Manor due to the lack of a nearby school. Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa advocated for the elimination of disparities in educational opportunities and for the provision of just and equitable opportunities in education for all. The current education system suffers from significant inequalities, leading to hypocrisy as some children receive superior education while others lack opportunity. They prioritized superior education for their own children while relegating the country's 4.1 million children to education below par. They then boast about their children's success as being solely due to personal merit, ignoring the inherent hypocrisy of such a system. This reinforces a culture of hypocrisy within our nation. I am announcing a clear shift in our approach to education. Starting at the end of this year, our government will prioritize English language-centered education.
He made this statement while attending the event today to distribute smart classroom equipment to Buralasgamo Mahavidyalaya as part of the Sakwala program's 100th phase. Former Provincial Council member Gamini Tilakasiri, who recently joined the Samagi Jana Balawege, also attended the event.
The Maldives government has deported a total of 186 foreigners who were found to have committed crimes including visa violations and drug offences, and among them are Sri Lankans.
The Maldives government has deported a total of 25 Sri Lankans who were found to have committed crimes including visa violations and drug offences. Of the 186 foreign nationals who were deported, 83 were from Bangladesh, followed by 43 Indians, 25 Sri Lankans and 8 Nepalese. These deportations come as the Maldives government is taking strict measures to shut down businesses that are being operated illegally.
Auditions for Shakti Crown took place today as well. Now, Shakti Crown is organized by Shakti TV and Shakti FM to take Sri Lankan voices to the international stage.
Shakti Crown.
The search for Sri Lanka's next singing sensation is underway. A new platform is giving talented individuals, especially those hidden in rural areas, a chance to shine. No longer confined by their circumstances, singers from Kandy in the central province and Deniaya in the south showcased their vocal prowess during the first round of the auditions. This nationwide initiative seeks to unearth undiscovered gems, providing a platform for aspiring singers to be heard and recognized. Today's preliminary tests were a springboard for the newcomers, offering them a chance to step into the spotlight and chase their dreams. Tomorrow, the talent hunt continues in Hatton, opening doors for even more promising voices to join the journey.
தீப்பொறியேன இருவிழிகளும் தீக்குச்சியேன எனையுரசிட
அழகிய சுரா அத்தமீராசை இல்லையா
உதட்ட கடிச்சு நீதான் என்ன உசுப்பு ஏத்துற ஊர கண்ணில நீதான் என்ன இதுக்கு பாக்குற ஒதுங்கி நிக்கிற போதும் என்ன உரசி பேசுற நெஞ்சினோ நோங்குது நோங்குது ஒன்ன எங்கால் ரெண்டும் போகுது பின்ன நான் முத்தம் போட துடிக்கிற ஒன்ன நீ முள்ளு கட்டி அடிக்கிற கண்ண.
இலங்கையில் எந்த ஒரு வானொலியும் தொலைக்காட்சியும் செய்யாத ஒரு பிரம்மாண்டமான ஒரு நிகழ்ச்சியும் நடந்துட்டு இருக்குது.
மார்கழி வாடை மெதுவாக வீச தேகம் போத்ததே மோகம் வந்ததோ மோகம் வந்ததும் மௌனம் வந்ததோ.
உண்மையிலேயே இலங்கை இசைக்கலைஞர்களுக்கு மிகப்பெரிய களமாக இது அமையும்னு நான் நம்புகிறேன்.
தன்னை மறந்து மண்ணில் விழுந்து இளமை மலரின் மீது தன்னை இழந்த வண்டு தேக சுகத்தில் கவனம் காட்டு வழியில் பயணம்.
Authorities have said that Russian opposition figure Alexei Navalny has died in jail, adding that an investigation into the exact cause of his death was ongoing.
The Federal Penal Service in Yamalu-Nenets Autonomous Region said that Navalny, 47, who was serving his sentence in a correctional facility on several charges including embezzlement, fell ill after a walk, losing consciousness almost immediately. Officials said that medics and an ambulance were called without delay. The Kremlin said that President Putin has been informed of Navalny's death. Navalny was jailed in 2021 over a long-standing fraud case involving French retailer Yves Rocher. The previous summer, he attracted major international attention after an alleged poisoning in Siberia, which led to his transfer to Germany. Upon his return, he was sentenced to his first of several prison terms.
Former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan has named a man in hiding as his pick for Pakistan's Prime Minister.
Omar Ayub Khan will run against the candidate of Imran Khan's rivals. Ayub, one of the former Prime Minister's party leaders, is currently wanted by police on criminal charges. That does not bar him from running. However, despite Khan's independence unexpectedly winning the most seats in last week's election, they do not have enough to form a government. Currently, the two main rivals appear on course to take control after they formed a coalition. Nawaz Sharif's Pakistan Muslim League and Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's Pakistan People's Party. A senior leader of Khan's PTI party, Asad Kaiser, announced Ayub as his pick for PM after meeting with the former premier in prison. Members of Pakistan's National Assembly will elect the new Prime Minister, and 56-year-old Ayub will face off against PMLN's Shehbaz Sharif, Nawaz Sharif's brother.
The Indian Supreme Court struck down as unconstitutional the controversial electoral bonds. In a landmark verdict, the 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court ruled that there's a danger that the financial instruments which allow for those investing in them to stay anonymous could lead to quid pro quo.
India's Supreme Court on Thursday scrapped a 7-year-old election funding system that allows individuals and companies to make unlimited and anonymous donations to political parties, calling it quote-unquote unconstitutional. The decision is seen as a setback for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party, which has been the largest beneficiary of the system it introduced in 2017. The system, called electoral bonds, was challenged by members of the opposition and a civil society group on the grounds that it hindered the public's right to know who had given money to political parties. Under the system, a person or company could buy bonds from the state-run State Bank of India, opens new tab and donate them to a political party. Individuals and companies bought 165.18 billion rupees of such bonds in total up to November 2023.
Japan slipped into a recession and lost its spot as the world's third largest economy.
Japan's economy is now the world's fourth largest after it contracted in the last quarter of 2023 and fell behind Germany. The government reported the economy shrank at an annual rate of 0.4% in October to December, according to Cabinet Office data on real GDP released Thursday, though it grew 1.9% for all of 2023. It contracted 2.9% in July to September. 2 straight quarters of contraction are considered an indicator that an economy is in a technical recession. Japan's economy was the second largest until 2010, when it was overtaken by China's.
Today in New Delhi, Gada unveiled a new and exciting project for the benefit of students.
For far too long, the students of Ragala Silver Candy Tamil College faced the challenge of inadequate sanitation facilities. This obstacle cast a long shadow on their educational experience. But today, thanks to Gada and the generosity of V. Nadesan from Vellavatta and Layantha Bandara from Jala, a solution finally arrived. Nestled in the hearts of Noor Elia's educational zone, Ragala Silver Candy Tamil College serves as a vital learning hub for 500 students. However, the lack of proper sanitation facilities had hampered their well-being and hindered a truly optimal learning environment. Recognizing this critical need, Gada responded swiftly to the principal's request, initiating a project that would bring lasting change. With the project's completion, a ceremonial handover to students marked a momentous occasion.
Gada, made in Sri Lanka.
Justice for plantation workers. Old story, new story, same story.
Today, the cost of living has skyrocketed. Our only objective is to champion the need to provide a wage that is sufficient for this cost of living. We are not making allegations against any political party, but we always remind them that it is their duty to honor their promises. You must provide a solution instead of using the plight of these people for your petty political needs. Actions speak, words do not. This is what many intellectuals have to say about this situation.
If you look at other workers, they use the word wages. But if you look at estate workers, they use the word coolie. That word places them at a very lower level. At that time, the wages system gradually increased, but in an end time period, it was never equal to other worker categories. The collective agreements between the two parties looks like nonsense. There is no true sense in that. This is a common scenario in many aspects of this industry. There were several demonstrations staged, but no true victory could be seen.
One of the options is to make them as smallholders. So therefore, these people, the workers, have to be freed. They should be free labor. If they made free labor, then of course they will be able to integrate with the mainstream and be equal to other sectors of the society.
All this education progressing, we have a long way to go. When you think about it, the national poverty is about 4.1, but in the estates, in the plantation, it is 8.8. Literacy level is 98 in the country, and we are only 85. And the computer literacy is 21.6 nationally, and we are only 6. And the no school population is 4%, and in the plantation is 12. And the university education is 6%, and in the plantation it is only 0.3. And the stunted growth is 18% in the country, and it is 40.8% in the plantation. So these statistics show that we have a long way to go. And how we can get rid of it? It is only education, and without education, and we can't forward. And social justice and democracy depends on education. Without education, and we can't move forward.
Justice for plantation workers. Old story, new story, same story.
And with that, we wrap up primetime news on TV1 for tonight.
Thank you very much for watching.
Good night.